Hello again, everyone. Welcome to the Pre-Masters Reykjavik press conference. Today, we are joined by Xerxia Cruz, Zeta Laz, and DRX Stacks. We will begin with press out the option to ask questions live or submit them in absentia ahead of the event. We will begin with pre-submitted questions. First question goes to Cruz from the Spike GG. Following the departure of Patifan to the Overwatch scene, Surf joined the team and is enjoying similar success. How confident are you in his abilities and the potential for your roster in the tournament?
To be honest, we're actually always confident, no matter who's playing the game, because we trust in all of our teammates. Because like the four of us have the experience, but the path to come to Masters was already hard, and we made it. So we're confident that everyone in our team is capable of bringing success back to APAC.
Thank you. Next question is for Stacks from Starve the Beast from Jute. If you could switch places with one of your teammates for a day, who would it be?
I think I would pick RB. I think there's no particular reason, but I just want to try it out as a duelist.
Thank you. Next question goes to Laz from the Spike GG.
昨年の VCT の年末の LCQ を辞退されたと思いますが、今回ロスターが新しい、ロスターに変わって、その、期待値みたいなのはどのふうに考えていますか？
そうですね。まず3人新しいプレイヤーになって、彼らは世界大会の経験がないので、バロラントでですね。バロラントでの世界大会の経験がないので、いろいろ試しつつで、ちょっと未知数なところはあるんですけど、そのチームのポテンシャル、チームがうまくいくポテンシャルは、本当に今まで感じたことがないぐらいうまくいってるなっていうのは感じてて、もう自分自身どこまでいけるのかっていうのは楽しみですね。ただ今までの成績で考えると、本当に一勝を取りたいっていうところにみんなフォーカスしてます。
Thank you. Next question is for Stacks. This question comes from the Spike GG. Your team's luck at international tournaments hasn't been great. What do you plan on doing differently to change the outcome this time?
Yeah, it's a disappointment that our results weren't that great last year, but I think with this year with Zest coming back in as the IGL, I think our chances are greater, and we look forward to this tournament.
Thank you. Next question goes to Cruz from Run It Back. Both teams have rebranded, Optic from Team Envy and your team from X1, but it's a rematch from champions to start the tournament. What are you looking forward to in that series against Optic?
To be honest, I just hope we play a good game, and it's a good opportunity for us to actually replay them again, so we actually know where this rebuild from our team is at, our potential is at, and it's a good start for us to be able to play one of the best teams, so that we could have the mentality and the mindset going on to the next game.
Thank you. Next question goes to Stacks from Run It Back. There are a lot of familiar faces when it comes to teams making it to previous international tournaments, but still a few new ones. Do you have any dream matches you'd like to see happen?
Right, so the first team that I really want to face is Fnatic, and that's to revenge them from our previous tournaments. And then the second team that I want to face is Zeta Division.
Thank you. And the final pre-submitted question goes to Stacks from Captain Beans from the Juked app. Which teams have you been surprised by in scrims leading in Iceland?
I think our team's scrim results were the most surprising.
Okay, thank you. We will now open the floor for questions from remote media. Please use the Zoom hand raise feature if you'd like to ask a question, and we will call on you when it is your turn. Ominous at Run It Back.
Yeah, my question is for Stacks. Obviously, there have been a lot of roster changes in DRX with RB and burst switching roles. So my question is that these changes worked regionally. Does he think that these changes will also work internationally at this tournament?
Personally, I don't really have any regrets, but I think we will never know until we actually play the games. I think you can find out by watching our match tomorrow.
Thank you. Next question comes from Lisandro at Radio National University.
Good afternoon. My question is for Stacks. And what do you think about the group where the team is, and what are you expecting in this first Masters of the year?
In comparison to our groups from last year's tournaments, I think this first Masters we had a very, advantageous group, and we were always able to win our very first match at every one of the global tournaments. So I think we want to continue that winning streak and look forward to tomorrow's match.
Thank you. Next question is from Hyunggun Kim at FOMOS.
Thank you. I want to ask you two questions. First one is to Stacks and second to Les. 먼저 구택 선수한테 질문 드릴게요. 개막전에서 만나고 싶었던 제타 디비전을 개막전에서 만나시게 됐어요. 이번 대회를 위해서 어떤 부분을 준비하실 건지에 대해서 답변 주시면 좋겠고요. 次の質問はラズ選手の方にお願いします。ラズ選手の方も隣の DRX と初めて試合をすることになりましたが、どのように準備してどのような試合をしたいなと思っているんでしょうかとの質問です。
We don't necessarily prepare for opponents, before every match. I think we tend to play our style as opposed to analyzing our opponents and playing to like a tailored match for our opponents. So I think if we just play our game, we can bring out a good result against Zeta Division.
そうですね、DRX が横にいる中で喋るのはなんかちょっと変な感じがするんですけど、彼らは本当に昔から本当にいいチームで、自分たちの目標であり、もう常に尊敬する対象であるチームであって、この舞台で戦えるというのはなんかすごい楽しみです。準備はもちろんいろいろするんですけど、自分たちのポテンシャルフルに出せる戦い方をしたいなと思ってます。
Thank you. Next question goes to Ben from Jute.
Hi. This question comes from Mo130 from the Jute community, and it's to Stacks. What should we expect to be different with DRX stylistically after Champions, where there is potentially a slight lack of alternatives when when set plays kind of didn't go as planned, potentially?
Yeah, when you look back at last year's tournaments, when I was the IGL, we used to have a different style of play. So when I was the IGL, we didn't usually play from a set playbook, but we tended to act more, on the go and see what the opponents were doing. So this time around, actually, because we're with Zest, we tend to play out of a playbook. I don't think you will feel sort of our plays not working as well as last year. I think in comparison, it should be much more smoother, and we should be able to carry out our plans or executes much better than last year.
Thank you. Next question is from Blake at Esports GG.
Afternoon, guys. Thanks for joining us. This question's for Cruz. You guys obviously have a new duelist with Surf. How do you think your form is now as compared to previous iterations of the team back at Champions?
To be honest, because he's a different jet player, I would say, and a new addition to the team. So the style is going to be a lot more different compared to what we used to play. And honestly, he is not as experienced as any other players in the team. But then he's just a kid, a young blood, and he's just here to play and have fun, I guess. So you wouldn't be I don't think you can expect like from like a superstar play for him, but then he's gonna be actually in more of the playbook and the set plays and stuff like that. So he's just gonna do his best, and he's gonna learn and grow from the games we play here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next question from Nigel at One Esports.
Hi guys, this is a question for Cruz. I noticed that you guys often have this practice, you and your team have this practice of like dyeing your hair before international lands. Could you share the story behind that?
At first, I didn't want to do it because my hair was bad already since the last event I put on. I don't know what color, I don't remember anymore. But then this one, I just thought maybe dye it pink, but then I didn't have enough money to fill my whole head, so it's only half. I was joking. So, I just wanted to look like my logo. That's all.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. And final question from Average Jonas.
Thank you. My question is for Cruz. Setting aside the competitive aspect of an international tournament like this, how important do you think it is to exchange cultural interests between all the people and making friends across the borders?
I think it's actually one of the most important aspects for me coming into an international event, because like we're from Thailand, to be honest. We don't really get to go to much of an event as big as this. So it's really good to be sitting beside like a Japanese player, a Korean player. I'm actually a big fan of all of them. And I like that we can exchange what we do, what we don't do, and then we learn from each other. I love it that we get to exchange a lot of that here, as well as in the previous events.
Thank you.
Thank you. And this concludes the pre-Masters Reykjavik press conference. Thank you to our players. Thank you to our translators. And thank you everyone who joined us today. Masters will kick off at 3 p.m. Sunday, April 1st with the first match between DRX and Zeta Division.